All right, President Trump lashing out at Twitter after his tweets are flagged with a fact check for the very first time.
And just minutes ago, the president tweeting, quote, Republicans feel that social media platforms totally silence conservative voices. We will strongly regulate or close them down before we can ever allow this to happen. We saw what they attempted to do and failed in 2016. We can't let a more sophisticated version of that happen again. Just like we can't let large-scale mail-in ballots take root in our country, it would be a free-for-all on cheating, forgery, and the theft of ballots. Whoever cheated the most would win. Likewise, social media, clean up your act now, the president has just tweeted. Ainsley?
And our next guest says if Twitter really cared about fact-checking, it should start with the propaganda out of China. Here to explain is Florida GOP Congressman Colonel Michael Waltz. Good morning to you, Colonel, or Congressman.
Hey, good.
Good morning to you. Thank you for your service, first of all.
Yeah,
okay,
thanks.
So this is interesting. President's tweeting. This is the first time Twitter's ever done this. They put that yellow box at the bottom and they say, click on this and you'll get the real facts about the mail-in ballots. President doesn't want the mail-in ballots. So are they going to start doing this to everyone? Why would they just do this to the president when there have been so many other people that have tweeted about different things that they don't get this same service? That's my first question. Also, there have been problems with mail-in voters. Down in the state of Florida, they found, remember that big batch of ballots in someone's car?
Well, that's absolutely right. So first of all, I don't know when Twitter decided that it was the arbiter of the truth in the United States, but if it's going to decide to try to be that, then it needs to focus on the propaganda machine coming out of China. But what the president is saying, let's look at just in Texas alone. Heritage Foundation has found 24 cases of voter fraud. 7 of them involved mail-in ballots just since 2015. So that's the one piece. And then the other piece, we're finding China, on the one hand, denies its own citizens. It bans Twitter. It bans Facebook. But it is all over those platforms internationally. Every time I tweet about China, calling them out for covering up the virus, calling them out for oppressing over 1 million Muslims, its own citizens, and its malfeasance around the world, I mean, there's an explosion of kind of counterattacks. And so these high-tech companies, Brian and I have talked about this, need to stop their double standard in terms of trying to decide the truth and focusing on social justice here, but then ignoring everything that's going on with these authoritarian regimes.
For the folks who do not realize, Congressman, you represent Florida's 6th District, which includes a portion of the Space Coast. And at 4:33 this afternoon, there's a scheduled launch for the new SpaceX spacecraft. We've got a live picture, but and people will, we hope, be able to see it starting at 4 o'clock with Neil Cavuto. Right now, we've got a shot of it, but it's completely fogged in. I know you're going to travel down, the schedule is, with the President of the United States if they do decide to go ahead and do it this afternoon on Air Force One. This is a very big deal that America is getting back into the manned space flight. But it's different because it's not just the United States government that's footing the bill. It's private enterprise. It's capitalism figuring an efficient way to do it.
Yeah, this is really tremendous. The president has been such a leader on space since day one, not only setting tremendous goals like getting the next American man and the first American woman to the moon by 2024, but also on the military national security side, establishing the Space Force. A lot of folks don't realize that we've had to Mother May I the Russians to get our astronauts up into space for the last 10 years. Since the end of the space shuttle program, which devastated the economy in Florida and made us dependent on the Russians. So this is a relaunch of America into space, relaunching American astronauts from American soil, and really reestablishing American dominance in space. Look, folks, our entire modern economy is dependent on that constellation of satellites, from agriculture to finance and others to what's up there. We have to be able to defend it. And the old adage that you can't be number one on Earth if you're number 2 in space, really still holds. So this is just exciting times.
Congressman, let's talk to something I don't think is exciting. We're pulling out of Afghanistan. The president wants us out by Election Day. Last night, Afghanistan freed 900 Taliban prisoners. I assume it's not for good behavior, part of a deal. They are already celebrating, said that they were celebrating a victory over another world superpower. Are you saying 19 years is enough, or are you worried we're sending the wrong message to the world? You can beat us if you can outlast us.
Yeah, look, I understand the frustration with this war. I've lost so much blood, sweat, and tears over there. I mean, every veteran that has fought over there has, and I certainly understand with how long, how expensive, and how difficult it's been. Here is my deep concern that we pull back too soon, too fast, and that government will collapse. That military will collapse. Half the world's terrorist organizations still exist there, and they will follow us home. They have publicly stated their intent to do so. If they take over again, we will have exactly what happened when Obama pulled out of Iraq too soon. You had ISIS 2.0, and in this case, you'll have ISIS 3.0. But here's the thing, Brian. Not only will they be plotting and staging attacks on the United States again, you also have Pakistan next door with 10 times the population of Afghanistan and nuclear weapons that could destabilize. So there's a lot at stake. I think the generals have been very clear. The intelligence community has been very clear. We need a small presence that can keep our foot on their neck. I want to fight on offense and fight this forward, not wait to be fighting this in places like San Bernardino, Pulse nightclub, and others. We need to fight forward.
Very scary.
Right,
All
and
right,
Michael, I'll tell you, just a real quick point. For people who say that we're just a police force, have there been hits on our country since 9/11 from that region? The answer is no, because of the great work people like you did over there on a regular basis, giving a whole generation a chance to grow up with some semblance of freedom so they can make their own choices.
No, that's absolutely right, Brian. And look at what happened when ISIS was flourishing and inspiring attacks all over the United States. And then when the president came in and said enough, destroyed the caliphate, they're on their back foot. And as long as those leaders are worried about missiles coming through their window at night, they're not plotting and planning against the United States. It's the same thing in Afghanistan. And unfortunately, I think that's going to be the case for the foreseeable future with a small presence. We're not talking hundreds of thousands of boots. Small amount of special forces to fight forward on offense, not defense.
Okay, Congressman, thank you so much. And thanks again for your service.